Welcome, everyone. I am Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon, and welcome to another Monday Win by Noon weekly webinar. As usual, I am here with my co-host, none other than Deborah Byrd, social media star from Plug and Play SM. What's up, Deborah?
Hello and happy Monday. This is our last Monday of June for 2022, everybody.
So that makes it the last Monday of the first half of the year.
Yes, July's coming.
How crazy is that? And so next Monday's July 4th, so no webinar. It's very sad. So we will do a call the following Monday, which will be the celebration of the 5th year anniversary of Win by Noon. So just be pre-prepared. I have no idea what we're going to do, but it's going to be fun nonetheless. And so speaking of the 5-year anniversary of Win by Noon, I'm super excited to have as our guest today, my right hand, the man who really makes all the magic happen in Win by Noon, the guy behind the scenes who some of you are lucky enough to have met and talked to, Adam Nelson. Welcome, Adam.
Hi guys, thank you very much. And I'm going to change my name because I think it says Deborah Byrd on there still, but I will get that changed before we get started.
I think
I'm excited to be here.
We can call you Deborah as well. And so, you know, I always get excited when Adam has ideas because Adam is the fun guy, the idea guy on our on Win by Noon, but he really was originally hired on as the marketing guy for our mortgage team. And so he's always the guy who comes up with great ideas. And so when he's going to talk today about is creating memorable, which that's really key, but more importantly, successful client events. And I think this is great for you, whether you're a real estate agent or you're a loan officer. These are event ideas that you can apply. And Adam has just been so great because not only is he the guy who comes up with these ideas, but he's also the guy who makes them happen. He's the guy who has to execute. So take it away, Adam. Where do you want to start?
I want to start by saying that you're gonna be like, well, Adam, it's the middle of summer and you're talking about throwing a holiday event that's so far away, and it's really not, right? You have to start thinking about this kind of stuff a couple months before it actually happens to actually be able to execute on it. So that's one thing I want to say is just start planning that stuff now. Start thinking about it in the back of your head. It's like, what am I going to do for Christmas, or what am I going to do for Thanksgiving, right? Next, I'm going to go through some stuff today, and I don't want it to seem like it's going to be overwhelming. What I want to hopefully get through to you guys is that it's actually easier than it looks, and to make it really memorable and successful, it actually can become pretty easy. You might just have to think outside the box a little bit. So those are my two, hopefully, takeaways for you guys before, I jump into everything.
So you're saying we actually have to plan in advance. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
Since a lot of us in real estate and mortgage tend to fly by the seat of our pants. So what do you think the best amount of time, like, is it 2 months out, 3 months out? What do you think that needs to look like?
So there's a two-pronged approach to that, right? So one is, we don't necessarily need to tell who will be attending the event's happening, but we definitely need to get with the event location and book that out, right? We need to start planning and making sure we have staff that's going to be in town. Our team's going to be in town. Nobody's going to be on vacation. When we used to throw events, that was the hardest thing with Todd, was making sure that he was going to be in town for our events because it was around the holidays, right? So making sure getting those dates on the calendar, that way, you don't necessarily need to invite everybody 3 months out, but you need to book the movie theater or the venue 3 months out, right? So there's a two-pronged approach there. I think for the venue, 3 months out would probably be good because that's when other people are starting to plan, and you want to make sure you get your date on their calendar. But maybe a month out is when you start planning for the attendees.
Perfect. Any thoughts on that or questions, Deborah?
I just think that those are the pain points that most people feel when they don't plan and they're trying to kick off. Maybe it is a Thanksgiving, Pie Appreciation Day, and you have in your head, you may already know, okay, I want to do one event each month, and you would think it would be assumed that people on your team would know, okay, we do this most years. Maybe we didn't for COVID, and maybe 2020, 2021, you just didn't do it. But people do travel and people do take time off, and that's when it can kind of feel so rushed and anxious and not as pleasant for the person attending and the people hosting, where you've got that noise in your head and you're wondering, is everything, complete? Is every checklist done? And so then you don't show up as present, or maybe it then ends up feeling the pain when you are trying to reach out and create those invites and be, intentional with, am I sending text messages or emails out? You're starting to think, oh my gosh, this person's out of town. And so sometimes you don't feel those pains until it gets closer to the time. And so these best practices that Adam just shared is, to me, some of the most overlooked items. So make sure you guys have jot those things down, that you are putting the dates on the calendars, you're looking at the venues and communicating with your teams of those dates so that people can plan accordingly. And most importantly, your rock star, whether it's you or your team lead or your buyers, whoever, can be there. So great point, Adam.
So then I'll start jumping in. Next is we got to decide what event type we're going to do, right? And so today I kind of want to highlight 3 of the easy ones that I've found that were easy for us to put on, cost effective, just and overall very successful events. And so can I share my screen, Todd? Is that okay? Is that possible?
Is it possible? Let's see if it'll let you. If not, I'll have to make you see if there's something you should have status. There you go. Look at that.
Awesome.
Ooh.
So we got to decide what event type, right? So I came up with a few ideas. One is the movies. And I think we should just dive in. I'll just start with the movie and go through that little process. Does that work with everyone?
Yeah, let's do it. And, real quick too, let me throw out there. I mean, it's, Adam's talking about being cost effective. And I think this is going to be one of those times where we're coming off of, 2 amazing years in real estate and mortgage. And now we're in this, oh my gosh, business is down. And I would encourage you to think about putting on an event, because what you don't want to do is be like, oh my gosh, I can't spend any money. Now, don't spend money you don't have, but you're going to have to invest, because really what you're looking for is to re-engage with your clients, especially like Deb said, if you haven't seen them since COVID hit. I love these ideas, Adam. So get rolling.
Definitely. And so what's great is you can go on IMBD or one of those websites and say, what movies are coming out in December? And usually Christmas is a big time for movies to come out. And so we got on the train really when it was Star Wars, when they were starting to release all the Star Wars movies, right? And so we knew that there was going to be a Star Wars movie every Christmas, because that's what Disney announced. And so we're like, okay, we're going to make that up. And we would always do it the Saturday that the movie came out. So the movie usually came out Thursday at midnight, and there were a lot of people who would line up at midnight to do that. But we trained our clients after the first 2 of them that, like, oh, the Bookspan Baker team is going to host us for Star Wars, so we can wait till Saturday to do that. And it was a free movie for them. So it was awesome. And so by the 3rd one, we had people who were showing up dressed as Star Wars, showing up early to get in line. And so that's where we go. And I'll share this slide too of, here's some photos from our movies. I just want to show how kind of easy it is to do. And there's Todd. And we dressed up in Star Wars shirts. I even think I bought a Darth Vader mask to let people try on, right? So we had people, and the theater size can vary. For Star Wars, we did it a very big theater. And when we did our summer movies, we did a smaller theater, right? So we would usually do a Disney kids movie in the summer and then a Star Wars movie in the winter. And our clients came to know that. But let's see. So any comments on that, Todd, on your experiences from the movies?
Well, yeah. And I mean, maybe you're going to get to this, but I think the big thing is you can pick the cost of your event by picking the size of your theater and deciding how many tickets you give to each people. You can give each person 2 tickets. You can give each person 4 tickets. You can, again, pick the level of theater. We picked a local chain that has, you can see those fancy seats that you sit in, but it wasn't like those super fancy ones where, they bring food to your table or anything like that. And so think through it. Yeah, we dressed the part, which was good. And I know you'll kind of walk through some of the other prep stuff that we did, but movies were always, always a really good opportunity for us to get in front of people. And it's funny because I was trying to peek now to see, well, what's coming up soon? Because, Star Wars isn't coming out in December anymore, but that was really, we had a great run of Star Wars, no doubt about it. And I think also the further you get into the theater run, maybe the cheaper it's going to be. I don't know. I think it's just going to be the same regardless. So as Adam said, we always did it the first Saturday morning, which was awesome. People liked it.
Yeah. And usually the Saturday mornings would do the matinee pricing for each ticket, right? So you're looking at, I think it was really $6 or $7 a ticket we were paying for our clients to come view the movie. And for us, that was a no-brainer. But So, okay, so we're deciding, we picked the movie, we picked our theater, and we started off with one theater. We ended up by before COVID, they were doing 3 theaters a day, right? So we were doing them all parts of our town, because we knew that all our clients were spread out and they didn't want to drive 45 minutes to a movie. So we eventually got to 3 theaters a day. You don't have to do that. Pick one theater. But once we pick the theater, we know the date now, right? So we know it's going to come out on December 19th or whatever that date is. We're going to decide to do the invite. And the invite is important. And I have another invite for another event that we're going to talk about later. But we did one for Toy Story 4, right? And so we made this graphic and we tried to brand it as much for the movie and us as well. Okay, so you can see we have our logo. We have the cool logo for the movie. And we kind of themed everything else out for the movie, right? We added free private viewing. The private part is key because it makes it really cool for your clients to know that they're going to a private viewing, right? So use keywords like that. But the next part you'll notice, and the part that I feel like makes it successful, is the loyalty advantage members is what we came up with, but you can come up with whatever name you want. I know Todd will probably have a cool names for you guys to use, but loyalty advantage
Still
members.
loyalty advantage. That's the cool name.
Yeah. So we did loyalty advantage members, and then we did all other Bookspan Baker clients. And you're like, well, what's the difference? Well, we wanted to be able to get their information ahead of time, right? So there are some clients that we haven't talked to in maybe 5 years or whatever that date was. And we wanted to be able to reconnect with them very easily. So we might have not have had all their updated information. We might have just had their email, right? And so we email out, and this was about a month in advance, saying, hey, save the date for Toy Story 4 private viewing. If you want to get pre-access to our tickets, because our tickets would sell out very fast, that you needed to join our loyalty advantage program. And what that meant was that they clicked on that link, and we had a landing page with a form that filled out information. And I'll actually go, if you don't mind, Todd, covering kind of what that information is that we wanted to cover with them in that loyalty advantage program.
I think that's awesome. I've never seen that in any event planning webinar that I've ever attended, or any loan officer team or real estate team that I've helped with events. That's a key strategy. I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper on that, Adam.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what I would say, I mean, for us, the conversation are really the things that you would know, right? In the mortgage space, annual mortgage review, and the realtor space would be, you'd want to maybe do a quick CMA, right? A marketing update on their property. Really give people right now, I'd give them an idea of what's going on in the market, because everyone's so concerned about what's going on with rates. They're concerned with what's going on with listings, all that kind of stuff. That's where we would be signing people up for HomeBot, since we're big HomeBot folks. And anyone who needs a discount code for HomeBot, just email me, Todd at Win by Noon. I'm happy to hook you up with that. And really it's just an opportunity for us to connect or reconnect, as Adam said, with clients, and then make certain clients feel really special, right? You're part of the loyalty advantage group. And one last thing I forgot to throw in when it came to the money, like I remember when we did Star Wars. So Adam mentioned we did it in 3 different theaters, because Phoenix is pretty big, right? Like you're going to drive 90 minutes to get across town. And so we did, 3 smaller theaters. Again, the cost is the same because you're just paying per ticket. It was just more of an issue for us of human bodies, having the people present each location, because we separated them out. We literally start one theater, drive to the next, start the next theater, drive to the next, and then you had to leave someone behind to thank everyone and do all this stuff. Do all the shaking hands and kissing babies afterwards. But I remember at the last Star Wars event, there was a real estate team that also had a group of people there. And, they were much nicer than us. Apparently they paid for popcorn and a drink for all their clients. So you can also think about how much you want to go over the top. Again, other ways you can save money. We just had too many people to spend money on the tickets and on giving them a bunch of free food. No one seemed to mind to have to pay for their own food when they got a free movie.
And I will say that too, but a little tip, when you are booking with the movie theater, you can always ask them, hey, if I bought this many tickets, can you help out with popcorn or anything like that? They can give out coupons too, so that's always an option.
What is the workaround? Because we've already had someone ask in chat about RESPA and making sure that your compliance department is on board with this.
I think it's just a matter of asking them, what what they think of it, right? We've been at 3 different mortgage companies where we've had our team, and it was not a problem with any of them with regards to that, because we were watching the movie alongside of them. Versus if you give someone a ticket and send them over there. But I would check with your compliance folks, because I certainly can't give you RESPA advice.
And notice we also, on everything that we had that had our logo on it, you can see the little disclaimer in the Fair Housing Lender on the bottom there. So I was always made sure to make that compliant as well.
And you would make sure these invites would only go out to past clients. It was never like this event type was with the intention of just nurturing people who had done business with you, not necessarily getting like inviting it publicly where anybody could come, correct?
100%.
Exactly. And so here's what you're going to run into with that too. So we did it through Eventbrite. We had everybody register on Eventbrite, and I made sure, you can call this probably being a control freak a little bit, but I made sure that one, that Eventbrite could only be shared through a link. So it's not public, doesn't show up public on the Eventbrite. But that when somebody is signed up, I double checked through our CRM that they were actually past clients too. So we did have some people show up that were sign up that weren't in my CRM. And so for me, I just felt that was an opportunity to call them and say, hey, how did you find out about the event? And they're like, oh, well, this person shared the event with us, or so I could figure out a little bit. But two, now I have a reason to talk to them and try to sell, have them become my client as well. Right. And so that was the thing. It wasn't always a bad thing that somebody would sign up, without a ticket or without being a customer. It always became an opportunity for us that way. So that's kind of how we framed it. But I always double checked that with our CRM. And yes, Deb, I didn't post these on social media. I posted after the event that we had it on social media. So that became my post after the event, thanking all of our clients. But I never posted these invites to our social media. Those were just strictly emailed out to our clients. And so with those invites, again, comes, we send out the save the date, right? And we send out, okay, tickets are going to go on sale for our Loyalty Advantage members on this day. And when I say on sale, that means they're going to become available. And then they're going to become available again the following Monday. So we did like a Thursday, gave all our Loyalty Advantage members the weekend to sign up. And then we would make it available for everybody on Monday. And again, once they were signing up for our Loyalty Advantage program, they went on a different email list, so that way we could email them out separately for those pre-sale tickets. Just a little bit of organization within your email or your CRM or your email, whoever you use for your emails out to your database. That can just become a little organization with your list.
I think the next question will be, how do we find an Adam in our lives?
No.
Whether you're a loan officer or a real estate agent. We'll have to do an Adam training of the trainers.
So what's next, Todd? What do you think's next on our list?
Well, you don't know, you already put the list up. So I was just looking at it.
Well, I meant in terms of the movies. So
for after the movie. Well, so we took pictures there, right? So we did our little step and repeat thing where people could get there. So they were standing up in front of the thing with our fancy logos, and then we took pictures and we got email addresses to send to them. I mean, again, because one of the things, again, Adam talked about guests and stuff like that. I mean, we said up to 4 people. So normally we were just trying to accommodate a family of 4. Sometimes you would have a person like, we have 5 kids. Great. Invite all their kids. Sometimes you'd have someone say, well, mine's a second home and I'm still in, Kansas. Can my grandkids come? And, you want to be nice and all that stuff. And then, we always overbooked a little bit the theaters, because there's always going to be the people who can't show up. And then again, you can sort of decide, we just, we never ran into a problem of having too many people, no standing room. Then we always had, we always had team members watching in there. We did an announcement over the speaker when we got there. They give you a microphone. You have to pay a little bit for it. I wasn't loud enough to scream up to the top level of the thing. And you could probably even have them play a movie, but they wanted like $200 or $300 to do that. I was too cheap for that. We could play like a little commercial for our team. But we just got up there, really just welcomed everyone right to the theater. I gave my normal bad joke, which was, oh, hey, real quick, we're just spend about 10 minutes talking about interest rates. And then I'd say, oh, just kidding. We're here to have fun. And, and some people actually laughed at my joke. It was good.
It would be kind of cool if you paid the extra money, if you had shots from, different closings where you have the families and it could be like 10 years old of when you did the closing, and now they're there and they get to see all these families in the community that you serve. That would be kind of cool. Everyone loves to see themselves.
That'd be great if we start taking pictures of people's closings.
So I
There you
love
go.
that. And here's the other thing that I will say. Well, I'm going to share this and see if it works. There we go. Can everybody see? So we had a step and repeat, right? And at first we just took the pictures of the step and repeat, and then we got into Star Wars, and I was like, we're going to hire actors to come dressed up as Darth Vader and stormtroopers to take pictures. And that was super expensive. So we kind of cut that. But what we did do is I found on Amazon or any of these websites, you can buy these cardboard cutouts of the characters of the movies. And so we would buy the cardboard cutouts. We did it for The Incredibles. We did it for Toy Story. We did it for Star Wars. Frame it up this way, put our step and repeat behind it. We had one of our assistants who was actually a photographer. She would come in and take photos, and it was kind of like Disneyland, guys, right? Like when you walk into Disneyland, they want to take your photo in front of the Mickey Mouse, in front of the train station. You go there, and now you scan your phone, and so they know it pops up on your phone. Well, we did it a little bit differently. You can't see it in this one, but we started doing name tags, right? And so the name tags had their name on it, but we'd write a little number in the corner of the name tag. And so when somebody checked in for the movie, we wrote their number down, right? And so we had the name tag with a number on it. So when we go back through the photos at the end of the movie, we could say, okay, this is Angela Smith. And we knew that this was Angela Smith because she had the number on her little name tag. And then we could make a thank you card with this photo. You see, we put our logo and our website and the address, and we sent that to them as a thank you gift for coming, right? But where does this go? This goes on your refrigerator, right? And so now we have our brand in their house on the refrigerator, and it's not a weird little tchotchke. It's an actual photo of them and their family at a great event that they went to, and they saw one of their favorite movies.
Well,
So-
and one cool thing too is that when you do it on the first weekend, a movie comes out in the morning on a Saturday, and we typically did a Disney or Pixar movie in the summer, and we were doing Star Wars in the fall. Guess what? You're not going to be the only person out there. There's going to be other real estate agents. There's going to be financial advisors. There's going to be other corporate people doing it. And so other people are going to want to come up and have their picture taken as well. So you have an opportunity to add other people to your database by allowing them to snap a quick picture and then get their data so that you can, email address and everything, so you can send them a picture. That was always one other fun sidebar, because that was something that other people didn't have for their guests.
Yeah, that was super cool. We didn't, when we first did it, we didn't expect that, but I was like, oh man, we need to start taking pictures of everybody. So we made sure we took pictures of everybody.
Is that
Or
Bill
just the
Murray?
organization piece
That's
was,
Bill Murray. He's here.
I take it that's the dog.
Yeah,
Oh, this is a real Bill Murray. He's just around barking in Adam's
right.
office.
I wish.
I can tell you, I've had clients before that they feel so embarrassed if they don't recognize who their clients are, or maybe they don't go to all their closings, or they do so many closings a month that they fear doing this very thing and worrying that they won't know people's names. So I think what a huge takeaway and little, strategy with the number system. That's awesome.
Well, the name tags are key, because I don't remember anyone's names. I'm lucky to remember you and Adam, your and Adam's names when I get on here with you. So it's a great opportunity, especially when, again, historically, I didn't meet with a lot of clients. And then, last few years I wasn't doing any loans. So I didn't know who any of these people were, but they all know who I was. And so it was just a great opportunity for me to at least be able to smile and say, oh, Adam, nice to see you.
And I'll share this too real quick. So not only were we making our clients wear name tags, we made lanyards for our team. So again, just making it an experience, right? So we kind of wanted to make it have that VIP feel, like you were backstage at a concert. So we themed our lanyards out. And then on the right, you can see these are the name tags, and we just printed them on the Avery name tags that you can buy at the store, right? And so like you see on the Toy Story one, you have the logo for Toy Story, our logo, and then you have the circle where you'd write the number, and then they would write their name on the name tag, right? So again, making it an experience for them, not just having empty Avery labels out there, kind of branding them for you so they know. This also comes down to there's two things the name tags were handy for. One, the photos, right? But two, and let me go to, let's see if I can find it. Two leads into my signage thing. Okay. So one, you want to have signage at the movie theater because a lot of people, again, are having events, especially on the opening day, like Todd said. But everybody's going to set up either in the movie theater or right in front of their actual theater. So if it's theater 4, that's where they're setting up. But I always found that people were going to be having a hard time finding you if you were right by theater 4, right? So I set up outside of the theater, and this is an old photo you can see, but I had our tablecloth on there. I had our signage up so people knew that they were looking for us. And then I had them sign in, and then I gave them that name tag. Now, here's what I did before that. I went to the guy who was taking the ticket, and I said, hey, everybody who's coming in with this name tag is going to theater 1. He became a part of my team at that point, right? So now it's not the confusion of, oh, I'm here for the John Smith team. And the guy's like, I have no idea what's going on, because they usually didn't. So I kind of took control of that a little bit. And I said, everybody who's coming in with this name tag is going to theater 1. Please just direct them that way. And it was a smooth transition from signing in at this table, the guy who's taking the ticket, and then they're going to meet one of my team members at theater 1 outside of theater 1.
And you got Santa Claus to help as well.
Yeah. Well, that's for our next event. So when we're done talking about movies, we should
probably wrap this one up soon. So a couple things I'll throw out there. Number one is think about the planning that Adam's talking about. It's applicable to any type of event that you put on, right? You can do all these things at whatever event it is. It doesn't have to be a movie. This just happens to be the one that we're talking about. And then I think probably, how do you wrap it up? So really everyone leaves at the end. So we gave people on their seats somewhere to put client referrals on. And trying to remember what else it had. It had something else. Oh, something about annual mortgage reviews on the other side. So again, just think about what else you could ask a client for. And then we had a little bucket at the end for people to come out. And then, we stood there and, people, of course, were trying to sprint to go to the bathroom, but they'd make their kids, thank Mr. Bookspan, that kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, no, it's Todd. That's all good. And just have someone there to thank people as they leave. But you can have something that you give them at the end. Again, we didn't really feel the need to do that, but we just stood there and made sure that someone thanked people as they left. What else do we need to say about that, Adam, to wrap it up? And then Deborah?
No, I think that's it. Just the follow-up plan of, like, we made the photo our follow-up plan, right? And then the signing up for the annual mortgage review was actually signing up for your loyalty advantage program. So when the next movie came, they got early access to the tickets, right? So those were our 2 follow-up plans to get all of that information from them. So
that was it. I forgot that. That's what we had people do, right? Hey, if you want to have access first, because we did have to, in theory, turn some people away at the end. But that was always our goal, was not to do that.
Yep. So
I'm sure you guys had clients that made their own social post and they're tagging you, because the experience, when you make it memorable and make it fun or gram worthy, is what I say, is then you have people, taking the photos and tagging you, and you're adding it to your story. And so then you're leveraging their database.
Always. And one other thing I would throw out there is, if think about an event like this, well, what if you only have 20 past clients? Well, then if you're a loan officer, find a realtor to team up with. If you're a loan officer, find another loan officer in your office to team up with. If you're a realtor, find your loan officer to team up with. If you're a realtor, find another realtor in your office to team up with, where you can actually have it look like a bigger event than it is, or just keep it small and intimate. That's okay too.
Yep. Because you got to think, if you only have 20 clients and they each bring 4 people, that's 80 people at a movie theater, right? And so you can get a 100-seat movie theater. And I'm sure you have friends and stuff too that they would love to come watch a movie with you. So, it's not hard to fill up a 100-seat movie theater at the end of the day.
That's true. I always had my family on my waiting list. You're on the definite maybe list. If there's room, we'll let you come.
So next, we got to start thinking about the holidays. And so I think one of the years the Star Wars movie wasn't coming out, so we had to think of something else. And I'm not going to take credit for it being my idea. I think it was your idea, Todd. But having Santa Claus come, and I used a picture of me and my mom with Santa, but we had Santa come to our office, and we offered to do a free photo with Santa, and you also got a pie from.
You said he just came to our office. No, he flew in with this.
He flew in. Sorry, he flew in.
He came
in. He parked the reindeers outside.
Yes.
The HOA for the office wasn't too happy with that, but we dealt with it. And so we did this event, and so I researched. I found a Santa. I'm sure there's one in your area. This Santa was awesome. He even brought his own chair. But it was crazy to me how huge of a success this event was, because I didn't understand how expensive photos with Santa were at the mall, right? Like you have to pay, it's like $50 now, I think, to get Santa, like printed photos with Santa at the mall.
Plus you got to
And
stand in
so
line. Come on, that's
you have to
boring.
stand in line. And so we kind of cut that out. We built a landing page. You could see bookspanbaker.com/holiday that allowed them to kind of, we built in kind of like a Calendly event of how to schedule your photo with Santa. So we broke it up into 15-minute increments, and we let so many in on that 15 minutes. And so we did it as a day event from about, I think it was 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we had Santa there. We had people coming in. And what was nice about kind of segmenting that out is that we were able to spend quality time with our past clients, right? We had them come in, we had hot chocolate, cookies, everything you could think of in our kitchen area. And then we kind of, okay, now you're ready to go take photos with Santa. Now you're ready to go take photos with Santa. And at check-in, we gave them a number. So just a little tag, so they wouldn't have name tags in their photos, because we knew that would kind of ruin it. But we gave them a number that our photographers knew to take a photo of the number, then take photos of the family with Santa. And I have some more examples of those photos. And so they turned out really nice, right? And you're like, well, what did you guys use for the screen behind Santa? And so we set this all up in our office. And I'm not going to take credit for this. Todd's wife was actually the genius behind this, because I'm not good at setting this stuff up. So I definitely knew when to ask for help. But this is what our office looked like, right? So this is kind of a behind the scenes look of what our office looked like that day. We had 2 photographers. The one on the left was just for family photos. So if you wanted photos without Santa, you could do it there. And then we had Santa on the right, and they kind of just worked their way through Santa and then came back out and enjoyed the festivities out in our kitchen dining area that we have at our office. And again, you don't need to necessarily have a big space like this to do it. These were like little 10 by 10, or maybe like less than that, maybe 7 foot by 8 foot things that we set up. And again, a great resource for this kind of space would be your title company, or if you're a real estate agent, your lender might have this kind of space that would be willing to help you out with. And all of these lights and stuff that you see are not expensive on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and all that. I feel like Deborah might have a link that she's shared in the past that has kind of these kind of setups. And so we just kind of made do with it. But this was a really fun event. Again, we got to have quality time with our clients.
Well, I think that's the key. So I was actually happy with this. This was in 2019. So we did it the Saturday before Thanksgiving, as we combined the Thanksgiving pie thing with the photo. The photo on the left was for people who just wanted to maybe get a holiday card with their family in it. And the one on the right, obviously, was with Santa Claus. The backdrops and the flooring were from Amazon. So again, you can go onto Amazon and just look up a holiday backdrop. You can see that we did buy a couple of fake Christmas trees. I think that was our big investment. And, again, we just had a team member taking pictures, and someone else volunteered. I think I paid him $100 to take pictures on their digital camera. So you don't need to hire, anything too super expensive, although certainly you could, have a fancy photographer. We just didn't, we didn't feel the need for it. Adam had people come in at different times so we could spread it all out, because we didn't want everyone to show up all at once. And, we just didn't think that'd be good. And some people literally just came for pie. Some people just came for a pie and to have time with Santa. And it was crazy because we did have some families who just stayed and they hung around and ate and talked for a long time. So you do need to have a lot of team members. I had my daughter checking people in up front. We had, team members just to talk to people. And, as dumb as it sounds, people loved meeting the loan processors. People love meeting, other team members who work behind the scenes. And so it's a great opportunity, and transparently, our team members loved having their own photos taken as well. They all brought in their own families.
I made my mom come. So
I love that you have the tape on there. When you really study those pictures just for efficiency and knowing that creating the landing page, creating the Calendly link to make sure that you don't have too many people stacked, so that, again, you are spending that quality time with your database is important. But you have strategically set out, the tape, which until you put those down and when you're trying to shuffle in a lot of people and really maximize your time with everybody, it's those little things that make a huge difference just for the overall experience for them and for you.
Yeah, we with the tape and like you see the arrows and the exit, we were just trying to make it a good flow because we knew people were going to be lining up and we didn't want, people running around getting in people's photos and stuff. So we just try to create a good flow around the room there, and it's pretty much works itself in a circle. So,
Well, it's kid friendly because kids,
and we
moms
had,
especially or parents are like, come on, shuffle along, or you've got, 2 or 3 toddlers and they're a little bit slower and they're all kind of wobbling, not knowing where to go. So, I mean, all of that helps when it's kid
and I
friendly.
think the key too, we have all these TVs in our office, and I made sure to have Christmas movies playing in the office and Christmas music, and we try to make it as festive as possible for the event.
It was fun, and it seemed it was fairly orderly. And the crazy part is that someone would drive, an hour to get a $10 pie from Costco. But, it tells me that they're coming there for more, right? They're coming there to meet us. They're coming there to say thanks. And, again, I mean, traditionally our mortgage team didn't meet with a ton of clients. And so, oftentimes it was the first time that clients came in, but then there were some clients, literally, a family that I had done 8 loans for myself, since back I got in the business, probably this first year I was in the business, second year in the business, like 2002, I think I did their first loan. And they were thrilled to come in and hang out and spend time and catch up. And, thankfully I recognize them still. So that was good too.
And
what was the organization like? I mean, was it the same way, keeping up with who was who in the photos and then estimated turn times of when they would get their photos? I mean, was any of that chaotic at all?
so the numbers, I was going through the numbers the photos again last week. And you'll see like number 4 with them kind of in the background. And then they would be 4 photos of them with their family, or maybe just one with the kids, one with the parents. And then the next family came in, we just had a little number that said 5, and all of that. So that was kind of easy getting them to their photos, because what we did is then we printed them out on nice photos, right? And we mailed them out. But what we also did is we made them accessible on our website. So high res photos that they could click on and download. And we told them those would be up in about a week or so. So you could download those. So you have a digital version, like Todd said, to do a Christmas card with. And so that it definitely gave Todd, sorry, you covered that. Gave them enough time to get their Christmas cards out before the middle of the
we didn't brand those. We again, the whole, it's the fact that people love the fact, love what you did. It's the whole idea when they send the card out and someone says, oh, that was a great picture your kids with Santa. And they go, oh, I got that from my mortgage team.
Cool. And again, of course, we had signage. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen right now. But we had the big blow up Santas and all of that. And we actually had some team members volunteer some of that stuff too. So we did have a few processors who had extra fake Christmas trees at home that they haven't set up yet. So they brought those in and we decorated them, and then the blow ups for signage. And it was really cool. We had people come in again that weren't customers, but it was just a good experience for them to become customers, right? So we had people walking on the street that weren't customers, but we made them customers after that.
So do y'all usually try to do, like, I know I have some clients that will do quarterly client events like this versus, I mean, how many client events do y'all typically try to do a year?
We were doing about
we've
2.
done none, but two was our goal before. So we originally did 2 movies a year, and then in 2019 we switched to a movie. Was an early summer, Adam. We did the Disney movie, and then we did this in the fall to replace the movie. And transparently, the challenge with the movie is you're not going to get to talk to everyone at the movie, right? Because people are going to get there last minute. They're going to be buying their popcorn. Where you had the time to talk to people was what the people got there early enough to get good seats, and you got to talk to them while they waited in line to get in. That was your opportunity to talk to them. And then at the end, they're all in a hurry to use the bathroom. And so you have less ability to connect than you do when we did this event. So the goal here was to do that. So going forward, fast forward to 2022. So we'll, in theory, do the first live event again in the fall. We'll do the same one that we did, the same exact event. And then we'll probably do a movie not until next spring again, but we'll bring them all back. We've just been hermits and traveling around the country in our Airstream, so haven't really been there to do it. So Adam's in the office all by himself right now, so he can't wait to have people show up.
with Bill Murray. But I will say, here's a tip that if you don't want to do Santa Claus, this is one that I pitched, and then COVID happened and we couldn't do it. But Halloween's coming up too, right? And Halloween's a fun one. And if you have the office space to do it, you make a haunted house. And you take a Disney haunted house, for example. It's not scary, but it's fun. It's, it gets the spook, not just enough spooks, right? And that's what you do instead of maybe a Santa Claus. You throw a haunted house, you get your team to put little rooms together, and you just walk your clients to the room, and then you have a gathering space at the end where candy's being held out, and pumpkin pies being served. I don't guess you don't serve pumpkin pie at Halloween, but you could do other cool stuff for Halloween, right? And you kind of have a little gathering at the end of it, but you have people come to the haunted house. That was just my
You give candy at Halloween, Adam. That's what you do.
Candy. Don't you drink some kind of cider too, or am I still making that up?
Dry ice in it and have the
Oh, yeah.
Well, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Right.
All right. So what other, I love that. So if anyone has any questions on it, any of this stuff, let us know. What other ideas do you have, Adam, that you want to share?
Okay, a few more and then we can be done. So the other one I want to go through is experiences. And this is one, let me share my screen again. And so when we say experiences, we mean like maybe not a movie or a, Santa Claus, but something that's just kind of an experience. And so we did what we called an evening in the orchard, where we had access to a really cool orchard that, was in this little neighborhood, but it was an orchard. So it was a really cool venue. And we kind of made it like a festival, right? So we had live music. My buddy just came and he was his guitar player. We paid him to play guitar. We had food trucks come in, right? And so what was nice about that is, again, keeping your costs down. You're not buying all of this food that's going to waste. You're giving all of your attendees tickets to use the food truck, and then you're just paying for what they used, right? So again, trying to keep it cost effective. We had games set up, bags, all the different games in the grass we had set up. And then what was really cool, and I'll let you talk more about it, Todd, is your brewery connection that we had that made the event really cool.
Well, yeah, this was my favorite event. What Adam's not telling you is it was actually my old house. So this was, we had a little small area with 4 houses and a mini HOA. So this is actually the driveway that everyone drives in on. It's right in front of my house, and shared the driveway with 2 neighbors that were over to the right. And then there's a neighbor over to the left. And so one of my buddy owned a brewery. So he served beer out in one of the driveways. It was a really fun event because, people came and just hung out, and we invited, in this case, it was primarily realtors that we invited to the event. And it was just, it was a lot of fun. And our takeaway was you could take home your beer glass. It was branded with our little orchard, evening in the orchard. And sadly, we moved. We'll never have quite as cool of a house to do that, but you don't really have to have anything too fun to do it. When it comes to getting a food truck, we just had to guarantee them a minimum. I think it was like $500 per person, but then they kept track. And then, if we didn't sell $500 of their food, then we paid them $500. If we sold more than that, we paid them for whatever they sold. And they just sold the food. And then we were able to buy, beverages in bulk, and, had everything all set up. And it was a lot of fun. We had to do valet parking just because it's difficult to park in there. But again, it was, in the grand scheme of things, for the size and the caliber of the event, and the fact that, Adam, of course, put his spin on it, and the team is all there. It was just one of those other opportunities to create an experience. And so, again, you can do something small like this. My next house that we moved into, I've downsized now twice since then. My next house was a little bit smaller, but I've hosted, smaller dinners in there of, 15, 20 people at a time, just smaller in venue. And, you don't have to do it as crazy. Like when we did one in our house, we had a chef come in, private chef, and he came in and cooked dinner there and served dinner to people. So there's other things that you can do if you don't have quite as luxurious of an area to do it in.
And there's a lot of chefs out there, like you said, that would be willing to do a dinner for maybe $100 a person. They come and they cook the full course meal at your home, right?
Yeah, and
And
ours,
for $100,
it was even less than that when we did it. When we hired a guy and I thought it was very reasonably priced. I got to imagine it probably, I think we spent maybe $600 or $700 on it. So whatever that was, if you divide it by 15 people, someone's math is probably faster than mine.
and you can't even go to a nice restaurant for that, right? So I mean, that's a really cool experience. And again, it's a memorable one because people will, oh yeah, I went to this restaurant, but when they're like, I had a private or chef cook me a private meal at someone's house, like that's memorable, right? So that's something they're going to remember. The other one I wanted to show too is that same brewery. So because we had the connection, which again, these aren't hard to get the connections, right, guys? Just go into the brewery and say, hey, do you do brewery tours? Yes. Okay, cool. What if I brought in 30 people to have dinner here? Can you give a few people a brewery tour? And I'm sure, most likely they'd be willing to work with you on that, right? And so we did brewery tours where Josh, who's the guy in the black shirt in this photo, was willing to go through and do multiple brewery tours because the group had to be kind of small. So you could see we only could do like maybe, 6 or 8 people there, right? So he would go through and he would take the next group through and give a brewery tour and how everything worked. And so this is just kind of an outside of the box idea for your events on, maybe it's not a movie, maybe it's not this, but it's a brewery tour. Like how cool is that for somebody who likes to learn about that kind of stuff? And then they get to taste all the beer as well, which is my favorite part. But
well, and they've got a private room in the back as well. So we used that private room to meet, and we just had pizzas in there that they made. So it wasn't that expensive. And then we've also done it with smaller scale where we've just had a corner, tables in the corner and had 15, 20 people there. 5, 10 people there probably, I guess is probably a better way. When we had 15, 20, we used the bigger room. So just think, it doesn't have to all be about scale and size. You can always do something smaller. In this case, the brewery was excited to be able to tour us around.
you guys don't think like, oh, well, they had connections, so they can't. Like I'm always on the prowl for when I go to restaurants or when I go to venues of like saying, okay, how could I make this work for my clients? Right? Like I've been to wedding venues where I'm like, this is really cool. I think I could do a client event here. Or I've been to restaurants where I actually walked in, there's these restaurants that have like wine cellars, right? And so they usually have like I don't want to mess it up, a sommelier, right? So I'm like, how can I do an event where I could have this guy host a wine tasting for my clients or all of that? So I'm constantly always thinking of like these venues that we have and how can I take advantage of that, right? And usually I'm probably one of the cheapest people so I'm usually saying, hey, can I come here and host these things for free at your place? And not like I'll pay for the food and drinks or whatever, but I don't, can I use the room for free? And usually if you're super cool about it, they'll bargain with you and they'll make deals with you.
Well, and I would say a couple things. Number one, that's what I love about Adam. He thinks frugal like I think. We're of like mind there. He kind of understands that piece of it. But again, this was just a happy hour too. So they gave us happy hour prices and happy hour snacks when you look at this one. So you can do it in a way where it's not as costly as, you don't have to do a sit down full dinner. You can do it in a way where it's less expensive.
Awesome. Walt's saying he's going to do an April barbecue. I love that.
I think a barbecue like that is great. I mean, I think there's other ideas. I mean, you can use a park for free and do an event like that, a barbecue. You can, again, think about the scale doesn't have to be too crazy. Any other events that you wanted to highlight, Adam, before Deborah and I just start hitting you with a bunch of questions?
The only one I would throw out there, and I don't have any slides for it, but it's something that it would be a lot of work to do. And this was a lot of work, but to do a staycation at a resort. We have a lot of resorts here in town that have water parks, right? And so my approach would be not to necessarily pay for their staycation, but go to the resort and say, hey, if somebody calls in with promo code BBT, can they get 25% off their room? So that's going to be my value add to the client. Hey, you're getting 25% off your room. And then we can host events at the water park where it's client events, come in and have lunch with us. And then, we're there, building that relationship with the client at the water park. I know you probably don't want to see some of your clients in bathing suits, but you get over that fact.
Nor do they necessarily want to see me in a bathing suit.
True, yeah. Right?
But at the same time, it's not one we've done, and we definitely wouldn't be paying for any client's hotel room. So no one asked me RESPA questions on that one.
No, I don't want to pay for anybody's client's hotel rooms. I was just thinking that'd be a fun idea to do. Or if you have if you're in a town that has, the dinner cruises, I've always felt like that would be a cool one to do as well, as a dinner cruise. So we don't
We
have
have
that
what-
here.
We have like it's Hawaiian Falls. We even have an indoor water park that they just built that's kind of on the lake that Denise had rented out. I want to say it was $2,000 for the entire day on a Sunday. But it was great because it was, one, she built the relationship. She actually did the loan for a guy. And that was the one thing that I was going to say is, as y'all are taking loan apps, you'd be surprised when you start looking at their occupation or profession, just like the intention and mindset that Adam shared, that anywhere he's going, it would be such an easy conversation to say, oh, I see, you work here, and your wheels are already going of possibly being able to bring awareness to a new restaurant that they just opened, or t-shirt company, or venue that's coming, or whatever it may be based off their profession. And then that's your gateway to building that network, not only just within your database, but also out in the community while helping your clients make more money. So keep that in your hip pocket, that if you're at a listing appointment or you're helping buyers and maybe they just moved here because they had a job transfer, and if you had your own little even landing page or website of just did you know and things in the area, that you could build that community of networks of, here are the best places to go for a margarita, or these are the best patios, or these are, maybe you're doing Christmas in July, whatever it may be. Just keep track of that, whether that's in a CRM or now maybe that intentional light switch was just turned on so you can be more aware and have quality conversations.
I love that. And they become part of the team, right? So, always don't be afraid to put their logo on the flyer. If you're using a barbecue, like when you do a barbecue, Walt, if you're using a barbecue company, don't be afraid to market them as well, so they become a part of your team in the experience.
Well, and they may be willing to give you a discount, on the services as well. Hey, you know what, we're on a tight budget. Could you do, what can you do? You could get sponsors. I know that a lot of real estate companies I know will get a sponsor. They'll say, hey, can you sponsor the hot dog cart, or can you sponsor the, bring water bottles or something like that too. So think about who else do you know who you could do that. We haven't ever gotten sponsors for our stuff, but we've always tried to brand the business where we're doing the event, or whoever's helping us out. So I think that's certainly a great opportunity as well. I think it's one of those things where you're all so creative that there's great ideas. And I think that what I'm grateful for, not only that Adam's on our team and has done this now for us for 7-8 years, but really the fact that he's walked you all through, hey, here's the things to consider. Here's the way to set it up. Any other questions you have, Deborah? Any other thoughts that we want to make sure we ask Adam while we've got him?
I would just say just frequently asked questions, or frequent, challenges, that if you had to give your top 3 reminders for any event or holiday or festival that you're doing, is there anything else you would add to the list other than make sure you plan ahead of time? And then the name tag tip. What else? Is there anything?
I feel like if you can brand it. That's one of the keys, right? Examples of, we made sure that it said Bookspan Baker Team on the marquee for the movie theater, right? Like those little details matter. We had coloring books or coloring sheets made of the movies that we were doing, and I made sure to always put our logo at the bottom of it with our phone number and our website. So make sure that you are adding your brand to as much as possible, right? Because that's what's going to make it memorable for them. You don't need to do it obnoxiously, but just little pieces here and there that, like my theory with the coloring book is that they're going to put that up on the refrigerator and it's going to have our logo on it, right? So that's what I wanted at the end of it. And then 2, make sure you have the follow-up plan, right? Because the event becomes a waste if you don't have the follow-up plan. And so even if it's something as simple as printing those pictures off, writing a thank you card and saying thank you for coming to the event, that's a good follow-up plan. That'll get the job done. That'll make it memorable for you. So those are my 3 things. Plan ahead, make it the day of, make it an event. Just think of what, like, I always kind of thought of like, what would Disney do in that sense, right? And then also have the follow-up plan.
What if you've never been to Disney, Adam?
There's a good show on Disney Plus called The Imagineering Story. Give it
Okay.
a watch, because it'll take you everything that you want to do to the next level. I really believe that.
I did take a leadership course through the Disney Institute, which was phenomenal. All of it was about creating the experience, but I have not yet made it to Disney.
I think if the stuff that you can do that nobody else is doing, right? And that's what we try to do as well. everybody's going to do the movie and show up, but what can we do to go that extra mile to make it more memorable for the client?
Well, you think about it, loyalty is a byproduct of the sales experience that you provide. And when you actually provide something that's unexpected after the fact, that's just a huge opportunity. I know it in our market. One of my team members 2 weeks ago went to a big pool event that his realtor put on, and he told me how excited they were to go back to that event again, that they go every year to the realtor's big summer pool event. So just think about what you can do to create some excitement that people are going to want to show up, say hi to you, refer people to you, and ultimately in the end, it's one great way to say thank you to those people who are in your world and support you. Because the bottom line is this: whether you're in real estate or mortgage, I promise you there's be more people buying houses and more referrals are going to happen. I promise you that there's going to be another opportunity for people to move and or refinance their mortgage. And I would say that there typically wasn't an event where we didn't get enough referrals that ultimately really covered the cost of the event in 6 months out after the event. And so just think about it from that perspective as well. Don't look at it as a big hole in the bucket with your cash flowing out. Look at it as an opportunity to gain further business down the road.
And I'll add one last thing and then I'll be done. But the stuff that we did, the extra mile never cost us more money. It was just more energy and not a little bit more time, not even time, it was just more energy and more thinking about it, right? And that didn't cost us anything, and that doesn't cost you anything to put a little bit more energy and thought into these things. And so I guess that was the point I was trying to get across, is some of the stuff is just spending a little bit more time to think about what can I do extra, like what more can I do for my clients.
Well, I think what I hear a lot, and sometimes people get it in reverse, is they're so worried about creating a brand and focused on logo and what colors do I choose and how does my landing page look, and people forget really your brand. There's perceived brand, what you try to make it be, but then the real brand is what your people say about you and how your experience or your service impacts them. And so I'm currently reading a book, in fact, it's right here. It's called Never Lose a Customer Again, and how most people lose a customer within the first 100 days, no matter what industry it is. And it's all about how to nurture and create that brand loyalty beyond just the transaction. And if you do that and just focused on that, you'd have an intrinsic business model that feeds itself versus always out on the hunt every first of the month of how much am I going to close and how many apps or how many listing appointments. So I love this. And Adam, we've gotten a lot of great feedback. They said this has been an outstanding session. So you rocked it, buddy.
All right. So I want to say thanks, Deborah. Thanks, Adam. Absolutely, for coming up with the idea and encouraging us to do this. Want to appreciate you all for being here. If you're watching this in YouTube, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button over there, whichever direction that is. If you're watching this live, yes, we will have it up on our YouTube channel by the end of the day tomorrow, and you'll be able to rewatch it and get any ideas there. I would encourage you to share it with your team members, anyone else who might help you come up with the ideas, and more importantly, might help you execute it. As always, on behalf of Win by Noon, Deborah and Plug and Play SM, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you. And we'll see you not next week for July 4th. We'll see you the week after as we celebrate our 5th anniversary at Win by Noon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.